Hi! Thanks for joining us for another episode of 5 Games, 5 Minutes from acornelectron.co.uk. Arcade Soccer is a limited but rather enjoyable overhead football game where you can take on the computer or another player in a series of football matches. There's a dazzling variety of options on display, everything from friendly kickabouts to a fight for the World Cup itself, but these are all secondary to a good gaming experience. Right, let's just get one thing clear. The Electron's not got the memory power to be able to do a soccer game of this type without there being inevitable difficulties. Every kick of the ball results in the whole match being paused while the screen scrolls to follow it. Although you get used to it after a few games, it feels very clunky and amateur. Now the game itself. I'm not the world's greatest football player, but even I know the team isn't allowed to randomly mill about in the other side's goal area. In arcade soccer they do this, and more besides. Control of each player, meant to pass to the one nearest to the ball, doesn't happen the way it should either, so you really need to abandon all sense of reality when playing it. Experimenting, however, will discover a strategy for putting those balls past those goalies, and some quite spectacular goals can be scored. It's limited, but for the Electron it's the best there is. Pharaohs Tomb is a strange game. Your mission is to recover 500 coins and a mask from inside of a pyramid. You use keys like L for left, R for right, F for forwards and B for backwards. You're never quite sure what it's about to throw at you. Either you're suddenly told to collect as much silver or gold as you can in a little mini-game, or you're suddenly confronted with a sinister monster that bars your way forward. Between each room is a magic door which is unlocked either with a number combination or with a password. The number combinations are typical guess and re-guess affairs. The password is presented with an anagram. This causes a few problems. For example, if you get PALSEE, should you enter elapse or please? You can buy weapons to fight the monsters with, and then you can play some clumsy little mini-games to defeat them. When you reach the mask, you face a different challenge. This game is quite different to anything else out there, and it's a real challenge. I'm just not sure whether or not it's good. Gyroscope's a rollathon in the style of Marble Madness. The idea is you control the gyroscope on a steep downhill gradient and attempt to manoeuvre it in and out of obstacles. You roll from the top to the bottom of the course. There's only a handful of these type of games available for the Electron, and Gyroscope is, I believe, the only one that runs in Mode 5 and makes use of colour. You can steer left, right, up and down, and you fight against gravity when you need to and let the ball free fall if you do not. Its graphics and software scrolling are stunning, and it looks a fairly inviting game. Tragically, however, responsiveness to controls is sadly lacking. Even though you're given 7 lives, you often use them all up on the first level. There's no logical pattern to the nasties who patrol the descent either, and staying on track is ridiculously difficult. You can get stuck between pinball-style bumpers, and some arrows grab hold of you and force you over the edge, with no means of escape. Therefore, the whole game really just invites you to tear your hair out in frustration. All in all, it's best given a miss, really. WIZALON is a game by Acorn user which features 2 bouncing wizards and a seesaw. The 2 pointy hats on their heads are used to burst the balloons scattered around the playing area. You need to position the seesaw at the bottom of the screen. You move it left and right, trying to get it into place so that the momentum of the rising and falling wizards shoots them higher and higher into the playing area. At the same time, you must also try to steer the seesaw into the position so that they're angled so their hats contact with the balloons. You have to burst all the balloons on one level to proceed to the next one. And yes, I'm not sure if I'm a bad player of this game or whether it's just bloody hard. Positioning the seesaw is difficult enough. Combining that with trying to predict the direction the wizards will bounce when they hit it is, well, to me, nigh on impossible. It's an attractive looking game though, originally from a magazine, but better than quite a few professional releases. The music you can hear is on the BBC version, but not the Electron one. Check it out. SimCity was one of the very last games released for the Electron, and it's an astounding feat of programming. You're in control of building and controlling a city, and its population. You start off by building it, bulldozing the land if you need to and saving the expense if you don't, and you can build residential homes, industry and commercial centres. You also need to slap down a power station and pylons to hook them all up to the national grid. And of course, you need to link houses to workplaces with a road network. Your startup costs will run out pretty quickly too, so you need to start taxing the population that move in and trying to make sure that you're not spending more than you're earning. There are a lot of other features too. That there was just the basics. If you don't fancy building from scratch, there are a number of save cities you can simply manage. San Francisco is one of them. There do seem to be a few quirks with the Electron version. In other versions of the game, Sims don't move into the houses that aren't hooked up to the power grid, but here they seem to start setting up a house the second that you build one. But the game is really the same famous title all know and love, faithfully and officially converted, which considering the Amiga version needed 256k is really something.